Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon. How you doing? Nice to meet you. I hope you're doing so very well. Today I am bringing you reacting to 1-star reviews of my 2021 favourite reads. I hope you find this entertaining. I will just say that all thoughts and opinions are my own, and if any of these are your favourite books, like they are mine, please take everything in this video with a pinch of salt, as will I. Everyone has their own opinions of books, and if we didn't, the world would be a very fucking boring place. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you like seeing my reactions on people bashing on my favourite 2021 reads, essentially.
Pick it up from the top, hit restart. So far it's been so hard to live, but lately something in me changed. Let it go.
The first book I have here is, of course, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. This is the 4th book in a series, so I am going to try and read reviews that aren't as spoilery as they can be. So if you don't want any spoilers, then please just skip to the next book that I talk about, because there will be mild spoilers in here. It's hard to get 1-star reviews with no spoilers, but let's just get right into this. I'm going to be reading from my laptop down here, so that's why I'm looking down here, and let's see what people think of this book, shall we? The first review I have for A Court of Silver Flames is: lots of cringe smut scenes between Nesta and Cassian. Nesta gets healed by his magic dick. Nesta becomes obsessed with Cass and they have sex everywhere all the time. Nesta does not liberate Illyrian women suffering at the hands of misogynistic animals that are Illyrian men. The war camp is just there for aesthetic. Nesta, now a shadow of her former self, goes back to face Sand in the Court of Nightmares and apologizes for not bowing to them before. The conflict between them resolves because Nesta's been lobotomized by Cass's dick and everyone is happily ever after. This is actually really funny. Like, it's not for everyone. I do understand where this reviewer is coming from, because like there is a lot of smut in it. I like Nesta and Cassian together. I don't think that their sex scenes are cringe, but that is totally your right. I don't think that Nesta is just like magically like healed by Cassian's magic dick. I think there is a lot more in this book. Nesta struggles with a lot of mental health issues, and I believe fighting with the Illyrian warriors and helping her be around women that aren't her family or like in the court essentially really helped her mental health. I don't think it was just a case of Cassian shagging the mental health issues away from her, which is like what I get the vibe from this review says, but I just don't agree with it. I think that there is a lot more nuance in the book with regarding Nesta's mental health, and it's not just brushed away because she falls for Cassian. Like, it doesn't work like that, and I totally appreciate your opinion, but yeah, there's a lot more to the story than just sex, and I think this reviewer's just got snagged on the fact that there is a lot of sex in it, but there's more to the story, and the mental health depiction and especially the PTSD that Nesta experiences in this book came through for me so hard, and I felt for her, and I don't think Cassian just magically healed her. I think it's something that Nesta's going to struggle with Cassian or without Cassian. I just think Cassian helped her realize that she needs to take strides to help herself, and in doing that she ends up helping others. So yeah, I do not agree with this review, but it's all you, boo. It's all you. The next one is actually a DNF, marked as a DNF. As someone who used to enjoy her books, this is such a massive disappointment. I usually don't rate the books that I DNF, but this one takes the cake. Thanks Sarah J Maas for ruining Nesta. Fuck Cassian, fuck Rhys, fuck Amren, fuck Elaine. They can rot in hell for all I care. There's not much here to talk about. I think it's really hard because people have a certain like feel for a character, and if the character doesn't go exactly the way that they think they should, then that like makes them really angry and like Nesta deserves better. I don't see what the issue is. Cassian is a really nice guy and I like Cassian and Nesta together, and I also think they help bring out the worst and the best in each other. And I think that when a character doesn't do what you want them to do and the writer takes like a different approach, that can make people really angry. But I wasn't mad with the approach that Sarah J Maas took for Nesta. I like that she didn't make it easy, that Nesta struggled with what she now is and what she's done, and I like the fact that it wasn't just like page 2 her and Cassian were together. It did take time for that to develop. It also took time for trust between not only Nesta and Cassian, but Nesta and the rest of the court, and Nesta and her friends. It took a lot of time for her to build up trust. So like, I liked the route that Nesta took, and I like where Nesta ended up. This reviewer obviously didn't, but like, that's your right. But also you DNF this, so like, I'm a little wary on that. I don't rate books that I DNF. I don't see the point. Like, I cannot like 100 pages of a book and then DNF it, but like, what's the point of giving it 1 star when I don't know the outcome of the book? Like, depending how much you've read, I don't think rating a DNF a 1 star is essentially fair, but like, you do you. But like, I liked where Nesta went, and I don't think rating a DNF is like worth it, essentially. The next review I have says, "This was embarrassing and I have a lot to say. How is it possible for an author's writing to get worse? Holy shit, her last 2 books have read like really poorly written smut novels and it's getting pathetic at this point, not gonna lie. I'm borderline wondering if she's scamming all of us. Who told Sarah J Maas that lazily replacing plot with really shitty sex scenes is a good idea? I would die of sheer embarrassment if I wrote this and actually published it for one person to read, let alone thousands." Fuck. Okay. "This book has made me hate every character in the series that I used to like, and now I'm standing with Tamlin. Oh god, this tells me more about you than it does about the book. Jesus. I hate them all too. I want them all gone too. They are all toxic, narcissistic, self-absorbed, and yes, I do take it personally. And anyone who calls Tamlin a villain and yet obsesses over Rhys, who literally lies to Feyre, suppresses Feyre, refuses to let Feyre near anyone, and deadass keeps some serious shit secrets from her in the novel, in which I will not elaborate due to spoilers." Thank you for that. He deadass is 10 times worse than Tamlin ever was, and all of you who say I'm wrong are blind. I'm just going to pause here for a moment. Rhysand never traps Feyre in a house and tells her to stay, like a dog, okay? Like, straight away Tamlin is the villain for doing that. Rhysand might be a bit controlling and the alpha male, and like, he does keep secrets from Feyre, but like, it comes across in a way that is like to protect her. I don't agree with him keeping secrets, and I do think he should keep Feyre in the loop with everything, but like, deadass Tamlin put a spell on the house for Feyre not to leave. Like, that is literally abuse, and you stand with Tamlin? You stand with Tamlin when he's literally abusing Feyre, but Rhysand can't be like a little bit possessive and controlling of the women that he loves, that he's bonded with, that he's mates with, that he wants to protect. Like, it's 2 totally different things, and the fact that you stand with Tamlin tells me a lot about you. I'm sorry, sir. Oh, this is going to be a feisty one, because like, this is my faves. I literally just got a Night Court tattoo. Like, I probably shouldn't have picked this book for this one. Oh no. "The constant talk of sex and bro-fisting due to fucking their women, the men do in this novel, is just so fucking stupid. I'm a guy and I even find that obnoxious and immature to an extent that I can not believe a fully grown woman would think even that was a great idea to put in her novel. If you want characters you can take seriously and actually respect, Sarah J Maas said no, also fuck you. Also, the snowball fight scene thing is the dumbest thing I've ever read. It was stupid as shit as a novella. It was worse than this. Like, I don't mind that. Like, again, it is all perspective. Like, I enjoy the fun moments in between, like, the serious shit. And because I am a huge fan of this series, I am obviously biased. But, like, what do you have against the fight, like, a snowball fight scene? Like, it's not even worth mentioning. Tamlin is the victim in this series. Oh my god. What? And anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Oh, okay. He did way less than Rhys has ever done, and they still bitch at him dead ass years later, laugh at him, mock him profusely without any thought to, Ida came perhaps a help a guy who is clearly suffering from major depression and regret. Yes, this character even acknowledges that he is suffering from serious self-forgiveness issues and regret. What the fuck are they still refuse to forgive him? Ida came, maybe that's what good people do, maybe. I don't know though. Right, okay. Tamlin is not the fucking victim. I'm just, like, there is points in this book that Tamlin is victimized, especially from Armentrout, and that is not even in this book, that's in the first book, and I do feel for him there, right? I'm not going to say that he was a villain all along, because in the first book, Tamlin wasn't really a villain. He was a villain in the second book, though, and yes, okay, Tamlin is struggling with depression and, like, self-forgiveness, but he tried to lock a girl in a house. Like, what? He also told Feyre what to wear, what to do, how to do it. Like, he went at her like a fucking animal. Like, there is no way that Tamlin is the victim in all this. Rhysand has his problems, yes, of course. It's not... Rhysand and Feyre aren't, like, magically unproblematic. They do have their problems. They are problematic in some areas. But as a woman, I would much rather be in a relationship with Rhysand than I would be with Tamlin. Like... I don't care how depressed Tamlin is. Feyre is traumatized, depressed. Rhysand is probably depressed and has self-forgiveness issues because of what he had to go through. Also, he probably has PTSD because he was, like, Armentrout's, like, little slut for a while. Like Moore has issues because of what she went through. Like, all of them have issues. So why are you defending Tamlin so hard? Like, the whole court has issues, like the inner circle, all of them has issues. It doesn't make them dicks to each other. Like, they all have their own personal issues, but none of them lock each other in houses and tell them to stay. None of them tell people what to do or go after each other like animals. They talk and are there for each other. Like, the fact that you think Tamlin is the victim just is beyond my reach. I am going to stop here, but, like, I appreciate your view and your opinion, and obviously everyone has a right to their own opinions, and if this is your opinion then that's cool, but this is not my opinion. I do not agree with anything said in this review. I actually am the opposite and, like, I'm against this review so hard. But I appreciate your thoughts and opinions, and even though you didn't like this book, I hope you find a book out there that you do really enjoy, and one that doesn't make you cringe or angry at any of the characters. But yeah, like, I don't agree with this, but it was fun to read, and I will admit your review was very well done. Like, the way that it read was actually really funny, and I will say that I would be interested in reviews of your other books that you didn't like, because they're actually quite entertaining. But yeah, Tamlin's not the fucking victim. On to the next book, which is going to be Tris Six Venom by Penelope Douglas. This is a female-female romance, the first one Penelope Douglas has done, and I loved it so hard. I don't know if it's just because it was female-female romance, and I love Penelope Douglas, I love sapphic rep, so, like, this was a recipe for a good book for me. I will say that this is a bully romance, it's not for everyone, but I highly enjoyed this. This follows Clay and Olivia, and Clay is from the right side of the tracks, has a life ahead of her. Her father has a good business, she has Ivy League prospects, she's ready to live her life. And then we have Olivia, who is from the wrong side of the tracks, the poorer side, and she comes and crosses the tracks every day to get a high school education, to then go to an Ivy. These girls hate each other in a sense, because Clay always bullies Olivia, and Olivia kind of just takes it, but then it starts coming out that maybe the bullying isn't for the reasons that Olivia expects or even thinks about, and the girls get tangled up in this weird web of, like, do they have feelings, do they not have feelings, why are they bullying each other? Like, this is not for everyone because it's a bully romance, so I expect there to be some reviews that say that, but I'm just going to get right on in and read the first one. The first review I've got here says, I didn't get invested into the story, nor the characters, nor the ship until like 60-70% in, and I'm not quite sure how this was so long. Help. Most of the things that happened were repetitive, and I honestly wasn't sure I was going to like Clay and Olivia together because of how Clay's character is written. At the end, I really did like them though, which was quite a surprise. I also don't feel like the character development was built up good. Like, 1 minute Clay's a bitch, then she starts being nice, but like, where was the development? This was supposed to be an enemies to lovers story, but the reasons for hating each other were literally non-existent. Olivia's reason was justified, but what exactly was Clay's? Anyway, I really like the brothers' dynamic. So yeah, like, I will say, like, getting into the ship is a personal thing. I did take longer to get into the ship than what I normally would. But the character development thing, I do think the characters had a good character development for the last 3/3 of the book. For the first part, it was just them being bitches. And yeah, like, the reason for them hating each other was really quite non-existent, apart from, like, Clay's dad's company was going to, like, destroy Olivia's home. So Olivia had reason to hate Clay. The only reason Clay had to hate Olivia was because Clay hadn't come to terms with her sexuality, and she took that out on Olivia, who was fine with her sexuality. This caused a little bit of issues throughout the narrative, but like, yeah, like, I would have preferred Clay's reason to be different. Like, I get why Olivia hated Clay. I would have liked Clay to have a better reason for hating Olivia. And this, like, says that it's enemies to lovers, but I didn't really get enemies to lovers from this. I got bully romance. They bully the shit out of each other and then end up loving each other. So, like, I wouldn't even say this is an enemies to lover. I would say it's a bully romance. So just beware of that as well while you're going in. Yeah, so, like, the thing is Penelope Douglas writes toxic people so well. And if that's not your thing, then I don't really think their books will be your thing. Like, it's totally dependable. I like the toxic, dramatic, smutty shit, so this is right up my alley. But if that's not what you're into, then you're gonna have different feelings on this author's work, essentially. The next review says, book was good, just some parts made me uncomfortable. The Sharpie scene and clothes being removed without permission. Penelope Douglas has a lot of controversial writing, but that doesn't make it okay for some scenes to be written. I have to agree with this reviewer. There's this specific scene where Clay takes off Olivia's clothes and draws in Sharpie all of her problems, and I didn't like this scene at all, and I agree with this reviewer. Like, this could have been left out. Like, the removing someone's clothes without their permission, for one thing, is like sketchy as hell. And also, this is a couple that end up in a relationship together, and the fact that you're drawing all over her body in Sharpie, telling her like all of her flaws, like, that's so hard to come back from. Like, I get why it was done, but I just don't think it needed to be done. There could have been something else that was less drastic, because I think if someone that I liked but hated, like, stripped me and drew Sharpie all over my flaws, I would not want to be in a sexual or romantic relationship with that person, because it does just come across as abusive. And I completely 100% agree with this reader. This scene did not need to be in this book, and it's as simple as that. I think that's the one scene I have a huge problem with. It didn't need to be there. It kind of, instead of building to the relationship, it kind of destroyed the relationship before it even started. And I think that's why, like the previous reviewer said, I think that's why it took so long to get into this ship and feel something for these characters to be together, because they were brutal to each other, which I completely understand. I really enjoyed this book, but like, that scene could have been left out and I would have enjoyed it more. And I completely agree with this review. I don't think rating DNFs are a thing for me, but like, you do you. Like, someone says big yikes, why is bully romance even a thing? Like I said, like, if a bully romance isn't something you like, then there's no point reading them. Like, there might be one out there that does it for you, but like, you're gonna have to go through a lot of shitty ones to find that. Like, I enjoy bully romances, which is why I read them and why I know that I'm gonna get something out of them. Whereas if you don't like bully romances, then don't pick them up. It's really just that simple. DNF, this is one of the worst female books I've ever tried to read. Yes, it's supposed to be enemies to lovers, but there's no excuse for the blatant bi and homophobia, including slurs and sexual assault. Okay, so this is the thing. This Penelope Douglas does have a dark writing style. And after I read Corrupt by this author, I realised that this was nothing. Like, Corrupt was hella dark. This was nothing compared to Corrupt. And there is bi and homophobic slurs used in this. And it's so hard because I don't agree with that, and I don't think there was need for it in this book. But because Clay's coming to terms with her sexuality, like, and is scared of that part of herself, it makes sense that there would be representation of people being upset about it. Like, unfortunately, it's the world we live in, and people are just horrible, and these things happen all the time. So it is kind of reality in a sense, even though it's not right in the slightest. The sexual assault thing, I think, comes down to the, like, taking off clothes without permission, which again, I 100% agree with. I think if the I think if the Sharpie scene and the removing clothes without permission and the homophobic slurs that were in this book, I think if they were all removed, the book wouldn't lose anything. So I understand completely where these people are coming from. At the end of the day, if it didn't need to be there, there's no reason for it to be there. Like, this book would have, take away those scenes and those slurs, this book wouldn't have changed. So, like, I 100% agree with this reviewer. There was no need for any of that to be involved. I think it wouldn't have taken away from the story. They could still bully each other. It could still be an enemies to lovers, but it's not enemies to lovers. It's a bully romance. Like, take away all that and it still could have been the same. So yes, any of the reviewers that point this out are completely right. There is no need for the slurs, the sexual assault, and the Sharpie scene. There was no need for it. I enjoyed the rest of the story so much that, like, even though I can say that I don't agree with this being in the narrative and I still enjoy the book, like, that's a personal preference. But yeah, I agree. None of that had to be in this book to make it enjoyable. So I think this was like a mixed bag, because this is a really hard book, because if you don't like bully romances, you're not going to like this book. If you don't like dark shit and are like, if you don't like dark shit, you're not going to like this book. Like, Penelope Douglas has a very specific kind of writing style, and kind of where she hits goes dark normally. I think after reading Corrupt, I, like, realised that this wasn't as dark as what I originally had perceived it to be, because Corrupt is dark. Like, Corrupt is rapey. Okay, like, that's how the best way to describe it. So, like, coming off of that to this, like, there's a huge difference. But again, if you're not a fan of dark bully romances, please don't pick this book up. And if you do look up content and trigger warnings, because there is a lot of them. And yeah, like, I just, protect yourself, protect your mind. And I 100% agree with some of these reviews and some of the things said in these reviews. I, however, did really enjoy this book and do enjoy Penelope Douglas's dark shit. I think that says more about me than anything else. Although I didn't like Credence. There we go. There's another book. Like, Penelope Douglas is like a mixed bag. You never know. Like, I didn't like Credence, but I liked all of her other work. Like, it's a very personal thing. The next book I have here, and the last book I have, is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L Armentrout. I have a vlog for this. I gave From Blood and Ash 5 stars. I gave Kingdom of Flesh and Fire 3 stars. And I'm currently reading Crown of Gilded Bones and having the worst time ever. So that will be a vlog on my channel soon. If you're interested in seeing me struggle with life, then subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified when I come out with that review, that vlog. But yeah, I'm going to go right in here. The way I lost all my fucking brain cells reading this book. The fact that this was over 600 pages, the fact that this book has an average rating of, at the time, a 4.36, the fact that I'm excused while I go and vomit all the cringe and angst out of me. This book won Goodreads Choice Awards for the category of romance. That was a choice. Someone explain, I am confused. This was like reading a badly written fan fiction combined of all the most repetitive and annoying ass YA tropes we love to hate. Also, never trust in book Twitter for a book recommendation ever again. Okay, like, yeah, like, I enjoyed this first book. I thought it was well done. It gave me all the tropes that I like. If you're done with all these overused, overdone, oversaturated tropes, then you're not going to like this book. I liked it. I liked the first one. I think it was unique enough for me to enjoy it and want to be part of the world. The second one, however, was trying too hard to be all of this. Like, the way that it was like this reviewer said, it's a fan fiction combined of all the most repetitive and annoying ass YA tropes. I feel that way about the second book in this series. The first book didn't do that to me. The second book did. The second book, I feel you on that one. It was a choice. But yeah, like, I enjoyed it for what it was, the first one, and I had fun reading it, which is what I mostly rate on is gut feeling. But the second one, if this review was on the second book, then I would 100% agree. This one is a DNF at 13%. Honestly, all the 1-star reviews I've been reading have been DNFs, which is hard because I feel like if you don't have a full knowledge of the book, then why 1-star it? But I'm going to read it anyway. I'm honestly flummoxed by the ratings of this book. How can Damsel, one of the best YA fantasies I've ever read recently, have a 3.4 rating on Goodreads, and this self-indulgent vampire AU version of Actar has like 4.4? I will say, like, they've got a point. Like, the parallels I have been seeing between this world and the Actar world are really hard to ignore at the moment. The first one, I didn't feel like there was huge amounts, like it's enough you could ignore. The second one, and what I'm now reading is the third one. The third one has so many fucking parallels to Actar, the whole like Actar series, that I'm struggling so bad because it's trying to be a Sarah J Maas book, even though it didn't need to be. Follow what you did from Blood and Ash and then make it your own. Like, follow the shitty tropes and the bad things that people like, and follow like the structure of it. But then in the second and third book, make it unique. Don't keep following someone else's structure. Don't keep following someone else's character development like road. Make it your own. It's not doing that. Oh, my vlog for Crown of Gilded Bones is going to be a fun time, let me tell you. Anyway, back to this review. Like, I literally have no words. This is why I have trust issues, you guys. You have led me astray from the path of light. From Blood and Ash was all over my feed, and even though I haven't been impressed with Armentrout's previous work, all of her heroines are basically the same person with different hair. I am a sucker for vampires and court intrigue, and so I thought to myself, you know, maybe this could be awesome. Famous last words. I know. You'd think I'd learn my lesson by now and stop reading books just because all my friends are doing it, and yet here we are. I've been impressed by authors before whose works I didn't like in the beginning and then did a total 360, like they missed the freeway off-ramp to the town of Awesome by complete accident and all it took was a U-turn. I loved that. I love that. But no, this was bad. It's one of those historical fantasy worlds, but the heroine talks like it's modern day whatever. The love interest is a smirky Smarmosaurus, brilliant, who immediately starts calling the heroine princess. She's a virgin because reasons, which is okay. The whole beginning of this book just slew of info dump, and I can already tell I'm going to despise the heroine and the hero and probably everyone else in this book. I think you'd like Kieran because I like Kieran. Like, I agree, like, Poppy isn't unique. Like, Poppy's a badass in the first book. I really enjoy Poppy in the first book. But she's not unique. It's a heroine character that we've seen before. A heroine? It's a heroine? It's a character that we've seen multiple times before. There is no freshness to Poppy, let's say that. I will say Hawk is just like a carbon copy of Rhysand, but the knockoff version. He is something that is meant to be something else, and I believe this is the issue that I have with this series, is because the series and the world and the characters are all trying to be like another series. There is no room for freshness, there's no room for growth, there's no room for intrigue, because you're copying someone else's formula. You need, even if you copied someone's formula for your first book, by the third book, especially when they're like 600 plus pages long, by the third book, you should have your own formula. Your characters should have freshness, their own road, a way to grow. Like, yeah, I get this. This makes sense. Even though you DNF'd it, like, it makes sense. And also she's right, because the historical setting, but they all talk like it's modern day, does come across really well. Does come across like a lot. Oh, this looks like a fun one. This book is Twilight on weed. From Blood and Ash, we shall rise. You're absolutely stunning, murderous little creature. Edit, I just realised that only WOC in this book. Tawny was named after the very colour of her skin. I must say JLA did not fail in the creativity aspect of this book. Yeah, fuck. Wow, I never put that two together, but yeah. There's like just a line of a bunch of clown faces, and I have to agree. Edit 2. Kira, another POC in this book, was also named after his skin colour. So you know what? I'm just going to change my name to Brown just so this trend is complete. Oh shit. I'm glad you pointed this out, because it's probably something that I wouldn't have caught. But yeah, like, fucking hell, have a bit of creative. This is what I'm saying. Like, From Blood and Ash was a good formulaic start, but like, have creativity. Actual rating is a 1.5 stars out of 5. Predictability is 1 million. Insensitivity 12, romance 5. Now, if you look at my shelving, you'll be wondering, did I regret it? Well, yes, I did. Do I still need God to help me? Yes, I need her to help me forget the abomination that this book is. To answer more questions, are you looking for a book with a very predictable plot and ending that it's almost ridiculous? Search no further for this. Are you looking for a book with smut scenes that'll make you wish you rated Kissing the Coronavirus 5 stars? You found it. Are you looking for a book with well-developed characters? Please keep looking. Are you looking for a book with great world building? This ain't it. Are you looking for a book with annoying, pathetic, and despicable main character? Look no further. Are you looking for a book with a fucked up love interest that'll rival Twilight? This is it, my friend. Are you looking for a book that will frustrate the hell out of you? Sign up for this. Are you looking for a romance worthy of an award? You are at the wrong place. You can message me for recommendations. Okay. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. I initially didn't want to review this because there's a lot of good rant reviews to give you a good insight to what waste of time this book is. So I'll just write a critical review on this and try not to throw too much shade. I'll describe this book in 3 words: cliche, cheesy, and cringe. From the beginning to the end, there was nothing truly captivating. It causes one to wonder why this deserves so much as an award. At this point, I believe that even JLA published her grocery list. I'll have 5-star reviews and an award. Perhaps a grocery list would even be more interesting than this. Like, this review is really long, but I'm going to cut it off here because I don't want spoilers. But yes, like, I get it. Like, this is a really hard book because I read From Blood and Ash really quick. It was a really long book. I had fun with it. I liked the world. I liked the characters. I didn't have a problem with it. And I favorited it for 2021. Now I'm having the issue because I've read Kingdom of Flesh and Fire and was a huge disappointment. And now I'm reading Crown of Gilded Bones and is a probably even worse disappointment so far. I am starting to realise that the problems that I'm having with the second and third book, people were realising in the first book, and I didn't really have an issue with it in the first book, because I always think the first book can be something and the series can go into something else. If the first book is following someone else's formula, following what's popular, the cheesy, the cliche, the tropes, and then the second and third book come away from that tropes and give new life to the story and characters, I can get on board with that. This series is not doing that though, and I completely understand all of these people's thoughts, because at the end of the day, like, the second and third book are doing what the first book did, but I gave the first book, like, I enjoyed it, so I gave it that chance that it would get better and the series goes on, but it actually got worse. But yeah, I totally agree with this. And can I just tell you, I would love for these reviewers to read the second book and rant review on the second book, because I think that would be highly entertaining. But there's no point reading books you're not gonna like. So even though I appreciate all the opinions said in this video, and I appreciate everyone else having their own views, some I agreed with, some I don't agree with, but that is my reaction to reading 1-star reviews of my 2021 favourite books. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, do everything YouTube likes. And let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, what you think of these reviews, and I will see you next time. I hope you have a great day, great week, great weekend, whenever you're watching this. Remember to stay safe, happy and healthy, and I shall see you next time. Bye! Thank you.